Hi, my name is William Schaeffer with the book review, The Knowable Future by David Loye, by Wiley Inner Science, a division of John Wiley and Sons, New York, New York. This book was published in 1978, and it has the spirit and flavor of the 70s throughout. But it is an amazing compendium collection of different methods and techniques of foretelling and forecasting the future, from scientific and business models to astrology and clairvoyance. And as such, it makes a very good resource. And I'm actually astounded. I've put off making a review on this book for 2 or 3 years because when I first read it, it was kind of boring and stale and dry, and I put it down after a few pages because it reads very much like a college textbook from the 1970s, which is pretty boring and dry. And then later, I picked the book up and was reading more and was astounded at how scholarly and thorough the book really is. And there are different sections that are treated, individually by subject matter. And let's go through a few of those right now. The book starts with a history of forecasting, in particular, something I was unaware of, the Addams Family prophecies. And at the beginning of the 1800s, members of the Addams family, the famous government family of the United States, John Quincy Adams and John Adams, made predictions about the future in letters in private correspondence. And 20 and 30 and 40 years later, these predictions were all found to be unerringly true. And this is one of the beginnings and of the interest in prophecy in modern times, in a modern story. We're all familiar with Nostradamus and the prophets of the Bible, and prophecy has always been fascinating to humans and to people, to be able to get the shortcut, to be able to foretell the future. It's what astrology, the I Ching, is. And this book interested me for that reason. In chapter 2, he talks about the futurists and Herman Kahn. And then they talk about left brain forecasting in chapter 4 and right brain forecasting in chapter 5. And I found the chapter 5 to be fascinating because it actually detailed psychological studies that would examine people's capability or inclination to be psychic or foretell the future in very controlled experiments. And that was fascinating. And some people tended to show this ability. In particular, certain middle managers in business would unerringly make correct business decisions when not enough information was available for them to know what the correct decision was. And the comment from this book was that a lot of successful managers have a kind of sixth sense in this way. And I found that interesting. In chapter 10, they talk about people working together and the pooling of vision. One thing I found interesting was a study that showed a group of people will perform better on an IQ test than any individual member of that group will. And that's frequently why large organizations have a panel or a group to lead them. They make better decisions that way. That's why businesses have an executive council. They make better decisions. And that was interesting that that was borne out by a study. The last section of the book, chapter 11, is the chosen future and what sort of future we're going to have based on the vision from 1978. War and defense, government power, crime and violence, the environment, foreign policy, satisfaction with the system and leadership, energy, race relations, sex relations. All in all, a fascinating book and very dense, and still an interesting and significant read today, 40 years later, because it's a good collection of an examination of the subject from a kind of a technical science analytical point of view. Everything from superstition and intuition to science models to accurate business models. A fascinating book, The Knowable Future. If you're interested in the world and how the world works, you will like reading this book. Thank you, and leave your comments below.